Yo, what's up? You back on the reel with Curdy Bird and Bruce.
Welcome back.
All right, guys. All right. Hey, little different topic this week. We'll talk a little bit about guns and gun violence. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Everything's good, Kurt Bird.
Absolutely. Definitely feel like this is something that need to be talked about.
Oh, absolutely. There I go with that absolutely stuff again. Smack me in the head from now on. I just
no, because we will get the fight.
Never mind, don't smack me in the head. Tap me on the leg. So gun violence, man. Give it to me.
Well, for me, I feel like as a nation we got to do better with this. And that's just how I feel. Like, I understand the Second Amendment, and I understand why it's there, and I do believe that it's needed.
Right.
But my question is, needed to what extent? I feel like that the gun violence got so far out of control in the last few years that I always ask myself, like, this is one time in America where we're not involved in no war.
We ain't been. Right.
And you understand we haven't been involved in no war directly.
Right.
And then I look at the gun violence and the death that comes from violence, and
in our country,
oh, we're at war with our own selves, and that's how much gun violence is going on. I do remember a time, like, throughout my life, guns have always been a problem.
Right.
But right now, in America, to me, this thing has got insane to the point where no one's safe. You understand, in the 80s, when I was a young man, they used to always have on the TV news about the L.A. and the gangs of L.A. You understand how they were killing people, and they always said how it compared to a third world country having a war, a civil war, and all this.
Right.
It's worse now. Do you understand? Like, our kids are being attacked.
Well,
our women are under attack.
And our kids are actually running around with guns, man. They pulling guns. I mean, like, you're hearing about these delivery drivers and these Lyft and Uber drivers and all these, and they're getting pistol whipped and their cars stolen and their money stolen by 15-year-old kids.
It's all sickening. And then when we talk about gun violence, that's the picture that we always get.
Right,
you understand that? But to me, gun violence is any harm done with a gun.
And it's way more.
You understand? Because if suburban America is getting crushed too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
suicide rates up, and you know what I mean? And like, not to put the light on the situation. Hey, it's, man.
No, it is what it is. And the thing, well, when you say that, like, gun violence it's up. There's 202 as of May 7th. 202 mass shootings in our country.
We'll have to define a mass shooting.
As of May 7th.
To define a mass shooting, the way they put it is, anytime 4 or more people get harmed with a gun.
4 or more people get injured or killed.
Yes.
Yep. And that's considered a mass shooting. So we've had, as of May 7th, 202.
200.
So that's more. That's
multiplied.
What is that? I mean, what is that?
4 times, man, come on, let's go.
That's probably 1.5 per day.
That's too many damn people getting shot.
You're way too many. So your stance in is basically is you. So what do you think should happen with guns then? I mean,
listen.
Like, do you think they should be
don't get
stricter gun laws?
Yes, exactly. Stricter gun laws. I'm not telling nobody. Everyone has the right to protect themselves.
Right. You're not saying the Second Amendment's wrong.
No, I'm not. Please don't think that.
No, right.
But I think that there has to be more extensive background checking,
more stringent checks.
You understand? Like, that's the thing. Like,
so how do we account for guns that are unregistered, that are on the streets, that these 15-year-olds are getting? Because there ain't a store in this country.
Absolutely.
There ain't one store in this country. Well, there might be a couple of some backwoods places or some places that around the corner in the block, on the block that a 15-year-old can go buy a gun.
Well, I always wondered, and especially in the black community, always wondered how they got so many guns. There's billions of dollars worth of guns just in ghettos around America, but they don't own $1 billion worth of businesses.
But black people don't.
Yes. Explain this to me.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, and that's the thing. Like, and
so how do how do you think they get in there?
I have no clue, and I wish I had the answer. But something in me tells me that they got access by something that's way bigger than I could ever imagine.
I would put that
just because
I'm
of
sorry.
the types of guns that are being used.
Absolutely, but I think my thing is we know if you want something in this world,
you're going to get it.
You're going to get it.
Yes, absolutely.
It's about what? It's about money. It's about the hunger. Do you want to go get it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's people that, whether it's a black community or not, because we got them in the white community in a lot of these mass shootings, they are predominantly it's white people doing it. Is what the media will portray, and we talked about that, in a previous episode. But the media will portray that it's in predominantly, but it's not, because a lot of these shootings we went through and looked. A lot of them happened in your Oakland, Californias, and in your predominantly black areas, and those happen. Those are still mass shootings. They're not just publicized as mass shootings. They're publicized as drive-bys or blah, blah, because it's the community where it lays.
By definition, that is exactly
a mass shooting.
Yes. And the thing is, like, it doesn't matter. They showed us. They showed us.
But they showed us
in 2 months' time, or a few months' time, where you had the mass shooting in Buffalo.
Yes.
Caucasian fella did it.
Yes.
You had the New York one. Black fella did it. What happened down in Uvalde?
I remember back.
You understand? So they show us, like, this is everybody.
I remember the DC sniper. There's probably a lot of people that may not remember the DC sniper, but that cat, he was up shooting people 15 minutes from where I lived in Ashland, Virginia, when I lived down in Virginia, man. And this was a brother shooting out of their trunk, and he was a black man.
Yeah, and so could you imagine the shock there?
Yeah,
when we saw that news.
Oh yeah, black people was like, no, he ain't with us.
I could have swore that was private power. Man.
Not making light. I mean, hey, listen,
not making no for real.
But yeah,
everyone
listen,
who lost
it's
loved
true,
ones in this,
man. Yes, it is true. And you were saying about suburban America. Well, let's just be real. White people, especially those who have never been in a situation where they've never had nothing. Like, I know some white folks who went and done very well for themselves, and if they went back down, they'd be okay. But there's white people who've been in a position and only got more, and when they lose that more, especially with what our economy is, you ain't lying. Those legal guns, they turn on something. Yes. They turn into because listen. Suicide rate is way higher in white folk than it is in black folk.
And I know
the percentage was way higher.
And I don't even know how you feel about guns. And we do not feel the same about them. We feel right. You understand? We feel different. I don't know. They just touch me differently. Like you understand? Like, and especially in my community, the way I see people doing each other, like it's just the dumbest things to lose your life about. You understand? Like, I don't watch people.
When you say in your own community, you've seen it. I mean,
yeah. Like, and I'm
crazy.
I'm not the only one. You understand? I've lost loved ones to the.
There's people that we know that are watching this show, man. That
have
lost people.
Yeah, directly affected.
Yes, directly affected. And God, man, our heart goes out. But
and that's the thing, and like, and that's why. How was this created like this? There's a group of people, and everyone thinks that this is cool, but I don't understand. There's a group of people that their survival depends on if they have something on their hip. You understand? Like, my whole survival. I can't walk, and I'm not talking about where I live. It's nowhere near this dangerous, but there are this type of dangerous places.
There are, and they're close to us.
In 2022, 1 out of 67 people in the city of Philadelphia was harmed.
That was 1 out of 67 black folk, too,
yes, but that's crazy.
You can't even find regular statistics.
Yeah.
Look, but the only ones you can find in Philly, Cincy, and New York, the ones that you looked for, because Cincy is 1 in 44, and New York is 1 in 50.
Insane.
But it only black people.
You're right. You can't find.
You can. I'm sure if you
got to dig. We can.
But
our shovel is not deep.
We weren't digging that deep for all those numbers, because those numbers are bad enough. But that is just. But once again, it's just what they're showing us, right? It's just they're just showing us what they want to show us, because that's what happens there.
Right.
But the whole on the guns, right? On this the second, I'm not an avid gun user. I own several for protection, and I'm not a hunter. I might shoot twice a year. I'm not. This isn't me, but I fully believe that you should have the right to own legal guns as protection.
Right. And the only reason why I feel like that, and trust me, and you might not agree with this, the only reason why I feel like you should be able to own a gun is because somebody else got one. And that's the only reason. I mean, I don't want to be in a situation where somebody got a gun and I got to try to punch this
absolutely, and I got it, but that's where the illegal guns come from, because people are like, oh, well, such and such got a gun, but I want to say that we need to, as communities, as city governments, as local governments, as a United States government, we need to get better on the education, the training and the education of how and when it is appropriate to use a weapon, because guess what? It is appropriate to use a weapon in situations.
Here go the thing to me too also, and it's your community is different than mine, and we're from the same place. I'm just saying.
No,
not strictly,
I know. Shut up.
Strictly.
I know you don't have to explain to me.
Here go the thing though. It's the glorification when you talk about the young fellas. It's the glory. It's what they see, bro. And just like we said in the previous
every rap video, right, in every movie,
it's the puppets. Every strong person. This is what you're promoting. You understand? Like, this is what we're going to promote. You either got to be sleeping with the same sex, or you have to be a thug. In some cases, they want both of those things pushed. In our community, that's what's being pushed right now, and that's all I see. Like a man with a purse. You can see men with skirts on TV. Like now, you see rap videos. You heard the one fella, the one rap exec. He gets on TV and like they don't care about human life. He's talking about that. Somebody asked him, "Don't you think that the music you promote, don't you think that that's hurting the black community?" And his answer was, "Well, I got people to feed." There go a man that don't give a hell about human life because you know it hurts. And I always say that, like, media, music, movies, all that thing plays a part in all this. You understand? Like, look who you're pushing it to, 18 to 24. When I was 18 years old, easily persuaded.
I mean, most of us are.
And most of us, Generation X, we know damn well music determined a lot about us.
Music played a big part in our lives.
You damn right. That's why we were able to love, protect ourselves, and all that because of the music that we listened to.
Yeah, absolutely.
They knocked the love out. Now it's all violence. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now it looks good to say,
absolutely,
I got a Draco. Bro, do you know how much damage you can do with a Draco? A 16-year-old mind, a 17-year-old mind coming from the survival areas that they have to survive
absolutely. in. Survival that we've been in.
Right,
yes.
Where the attitude is.
And theirs is a lot worse. Some of their situations are a lot worse. We're not comparing
bite or get, yes. Right. Absolutely. Because it's bite or get bitten. A lot of them, like, it's literally like, what do I do? I know a lot of guys that are straight intelligent.
So I think you're answering your own question when you say that, Bertie, right? Especially when you say your community. When you say the black community, it's a protection thing.
Yeah, right.
Yo, it's kill or be killed because it's that survival thing.
That's the environment.
And listen, there are literally, we know there is so many illegal markets to get illegal things, and that, I think that's what answers your question. And how does it come in? It's coming in because of that survival thing that, people that are in that black community, I'll say that poorer community, because they need to survive. Because if I can't get a legal gun and I'm living in an area that I know is a little more dangerous, I'm going to make sure that I have an illegal gun.
Like, to me, I can't rap, and I'm 44, and I still can't rap or fathom the idea of parents burying their babies to senseless gun violence.
Oh, my God.
Do you understand?
And I agree. 100%.
And to every parent that went through you, man, like, if you're still standing, like, and you're out there preaching to people, man, I commend you. You are a strong individual. Because, dude, that's melding to me. You understand? I lost my baby sister and not to know gun violence, but I just lost my baby sister, and that's hard to wrap my. Could you imagine? You understand? Like, are you serious?
I mean, I lost my baby brother.
Yeah, like that's foolishness.
That was, but that was, those were over. That's another subject for another time. But we were talking about the deaths by gun in 2022 by gun violence.
He shut me up with this, yo.
Bertie told me 48,830 deaths by gun violence. So gun violence is bad.
That's terrible. Yeah.
It's horrible, and there's so many babies getting killed and useless deaths. Man. But 98,268 deaths by overdose in 2022. In the same year, it was almost double.
Yeah, that demolished me. Like that,
I mean, it was double actually.
So that's just one problem is another, and
they both come from the same community. So that and that's
right,
another.
And that's what we're saying. Pick your
poison,
right. It's pick your poison now.
But the thing is, those deaths, whether it be gun violence, yes, the majority are going to be in your more poor communities, but those deaths are in nicer areas. I mean, look at these mass shootings. Look at, once again, the suicides. Like, this is gun violence. This is stuff that's taken into account. But how do we as a community, how do we as people, how do we make it better then? What do we do then? What do we do?
We as people, it's tight on, it's hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for us to.
So what can we do though? Because there has to be something we can do, right?
The only way that you're going to be able to fix this problem, I think, is legislation,
right,
and education.
Absolutely.
You understand? You have to be more knowledgeable about locking guns up.
Right.
Not just putting them on top of shelves, locking them up. There has to be legislation pushed on. The legislation part has to totally do with me on better background checking.
Absolutely.
And the reason you get that, the way you get that, if somebody lived at a residence for 20 years, them neighbors know what that man's into. They know what that woman's into. Definitely. No, I don't think you should give him a gun.
So what if somebody, so more stringent background checks.
Yes, please.
More stringent background checks, and I agree with that.
Like if a man has hate, if you know
how do we
man,
stop? So more stringent background checks, right?
Right.
How do we as a people, how do we as a government, how do we as whatever, how can we stop the illegal guns? Because I'm not going to say that the legal guns are the problem, are never the problem, because they are, but yes. I bet you if we looked up the numbers to that would be something to look up good to figure out. But I would guarantee that the legal guns don't. They're a much less percentage.
You know.
And even if not,
that's
what about the illegal guns? How do we stop that? How can we do? And we can't stop it, but how do we? That's where I say we as people we need to somehow educate these. We got YouTube videos out here. Educate young people on how to, if they're going to own an illegal gun, and you can't, because we can't get to every one of them.
Yeah, they're not going to get to them. They're not
going to get to them. They're going to have those illegal guns.
That's why that stuff's never going anywhere, because what you're talking about right now, it's so easy to get.
But we can make it better. We can make it better as parents. Be involved. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that you're not.
And you're not superheroes. You're not.
Yeah, you can't stop everything, but maybe pay a little bit more attention to your child, and you're gonna know. If you got a 15-year-old out here and you know that child's running around with a gun, that's a bigger part of the problem.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and when it comes to guns and stuff, man. And trust me, I'm not a very religious person anymore. You understand? I still believe in a higher power, but I'm not the way I used to be.
You're a spiritual brother.
Yes, but the things that there's one thing in the Bible that scares me about these times, and it's the Book of Revelations, and it states in there, and I can't just quote it out because I'm not that good, but it states in there.
He's been slipping on his Bible.
He says in the last days that there are going to be metal insects killing people. So I was like, man. Metal insects. We're all around metal insects. Bullets and needles.
All over.
They go in and go out, and you understand.
In 2022, just the United States,
and that's kind of
roughly 146,000.
in 1 year.
146,000 people in a year, just by OD and deaths, or just by ODs and guns, and that's just what they know about.
And a lot of
that's just what they know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And I always said that about gun. Like even the guns, we can't get a real information. How many people got drugged in Everglades, alligator eating? him in the bull.
I mean,
you understand? Yeah. So you would never really
how
get
many
that
are sitting
number
at the bottom of a lake or something?
And
I mean, that's stuff that really happens.
But I really think that that's something that we really need to start thinking about. And when I say that, please don't attack me. I'm not saying that I'm attacking your Second Amendment. But I think that it's time to start thinking about the safety of our children.
Yeah, because it's not that you don't agree with the Second Amendment. It's just the fact that you think there should be more stringent gun laws. And I think a lot of people would agree with you. And to the people, that there are people out there that say, no, all guns should be given back. There's no reason for you to have an AR-15 or what. Who are you? I mean, you're that just because you say it, it's okay. You're allowed in that opinion.
Right.
But
you just don't know.
You have no clue. Like, the Second Amendment, originally for self-defense in the home. And then some other amendments were made to it throughout the years.
For tyrannical government.
Exactly. For tyranny. Tyranny. There you go. Tyranny.
Yeah, right.
So for tyranny, I mean, but it goes back to this. The fact that, we need more stringent checks. We need better education. There's so many more things that we can do as people, as government. There's so many different things we can do. We can be more responsible as parents, as leaders in our community, as people in our community. We can do a lot better. But gun violence, it is something that it does attack all races. All ethnicities. It attacks all areas.
Just like so much stuff. Like, you can't have one without each other. It's not going to miss.
No,
it's one of those things. It's not going to miss.
And it's like it's absolutely.
There's all this stuff that you could try to put out here. Y'all thinking, no, it's coming.
Yeah,
you understand? You could drop it off in any part. I don't care, the woods.
I said this in a previous episode too. Is that with all that, all the gun, the people that don't want. That guns should be taken out of American citizens' hands. That's such a big thing. But I said this once again before. There's a reason the United States of America has never and will never be invaded by true. I mean, if it's invaded, it's going to be nuclear missiles or it's going to be planes in the towers. Yeah, right. I mean,
nobody's coming. No
one's ever coming on this land because, once again, doesn't matter. The divide doesn't matter. If another country, Russia, China, whatever, come to invade the United States and brought people here, they'd have to worry about a lot more than the military. That you people that want guns abolished and guns taken out of home, I promise you that if that ever happened, invasion would be a lot more likely. And the fact that
I feel like that would never happen anyway because them people that own them guns, they gonna fight for them guns.
It has because you ain't coming in.
Yeah, you're not right. Them people that own them guns,
but that's what I'm saying.
They're not worried about
those
no badges.
Those are the people though that you're gonna want. That's your support, man. Those are the people that are gonna keep you safe, whether you think so or not. Those people that know how to use those guns. And listen, it's gonna be your police officers. It's gonna be your military. It's gonna be your brothers that are sitting down on the block. It's gonna be the cats that are down in the backwoods making moonshine, and everybody's going to come together. That would happen, guys.
It's just the foolishness. I'm not talking about
absolutely.
I'm not talking about people that was defending themselves and had to handle something.
And the foolishness.
I'm talking about the foolishness.
That's education too. Yeah, I think especially growing up, we had a lot. Even though a lot of us, I was fortunate enough to have a father, even though there was things that I didn't like about that happened in my life. Okay, but that don't matter. But we all had old heads in our community.
Damn right.
I think a big problem is a lot of the people like us that are now the old heads. Like, we're the old heads, man. We in our 40s. There's not enough of us out here speaking to these younger generation.
And I feel like some of the
preaching to this younger generation.
And I totally feel like that. And the fact of the matter is, I feel like the youth is so blind right now that even in trying to teach them something and give them education, you're putting your life in danger.
And you are. But I'm glad you said that, because I was on that same boat until once again I started doing what I did a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was going to these neighborhoods where I would get out the car once again and I'm walking in this park. It's down in a part of Pittsburgh. It's in East Liberty, big park. I don't even know the name of it. But I just know where it's at. Get out, and this was like a once a week thing, and I would go, and I'd walk around this park, and there might be 10 people out, or there might be 110 people out, and there might be 1 or 2 white folk there. And I'd walk around, and I'd grab, there'd be a couple little 6-7-year-old kids throwing a football around, and I'd grab, throw it, and I'd, mess with them a little bit. Just give them a couple minutes of my time. Show them something.
That's what needs to happen.
And it goes back to episodes that we've spoken on things before, right? Like,
that's the type of things that need to happen.
It needs, but we need to, as men, as old heads.
Right? What causes violence? Anger, right? Mm-hmm. Give these kids something not to be angry about.
Absolutely.
For real, like as always hear us. We always talk dumb, but we don't do no actions.
But I've noticed that these kids, and that's just the thing, like
got
you
that
said,
grown up repellent on.
Well, and it's not only that, but you were saying that was my point that you were saying about the blinders, these children, but not as many of them. If we get out and we speak to them, not as many have blinders as we think.
No, yeah.
They're actually, it's not. We say it as an older generation because we don't get out there enough, and you do because you see it. Remember, this is Coach Curdy. Y'all know this is Coach Curdy, right? Y'all met him before. I mean, Coach Curdy has been coaching for over 20 years. He's had countless number of children come through your group. And in that group, you've seen some that had blinders, but you've also seen the really good ones. Right. But you've not been really out of this small community that we live in to see.
Yeah.
And what I've seen in just a year's time of just doing what I've been doing, it's absolute. It's an amazing thing. And I say the younger generation. We talk about the younger that 18 to 30 year old, right? That 18 to 30. We're not. We give them so much shit, but man, I'm gonna shout out to y'all because y'all, it really is not as bad. It's just I think it's a generation. We all say that.
When it comes to the street gun violence, man, I would really like to just go back to the days of where.
Oh, I mean,
back to the
you just knuckle up.
Yeah,
but nobody wants to get into a fight. I mean, that shit don't.
Nobody, too much pride to get beat up.
Yeah, too much pride, but it ain't too much pride when you shoot somebody for some dumb shit and your ass is locked up for the rest of your life. Right. And then I know a lot of people. I'm about that. No, well, I'm do this and I'm gonna do that, or I'll do this. Well, listen, I get defend yours if it's self-defense, man. But why are we pulling out guns at a traffic stop because somebody beeped at you?
At a party where we're supposed to be having fun
at a downtown area where there's a bunch of people and some little kids around.
In a neighborhood where there's grandmas and little kids on the porch.
What in the... What?
An elementary school center.
You're going to go and spend the rest of your life, in a school, in a building.
A synagogue.
You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. And that family that you got out here, they're going to come around for that first year. They're going to come around, they're going to see you once a week, right? But then they're going to realize, eventually, most of them are going to realize, man, this dumbass went and shot up this people for no goddamn reason.
For real. And then, and another thing is the punishment. Like, wow, my punishment. And then everybody's like, and this is another subject, I know, but the death chair.
Should you? Yeah, that's definitely.
You understand?
Absolutely, we could definitely talk about that.
Because
the death penalty.
The death penalty. What we're doing? We're doing these people a favor. You don't think?
Well, that's definitely a topic we can get into. I dig that. I absolutely dig that. But
for real, and another thing that y'all could do, and I didn't mention this, but law enforcement. When somebody has an illegal gun and it was registered to somebody, hold that other person to more responsibility.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know. I can't
and
say.
Then I bet you they'll stop missing. I bet you them guns will stop coming up missing.
I mean, absolutely.
I bet you they'll stop coming up missing.
I mean, especially
it'll come up missing, but it's not going to come up missing as much.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to an accountability thing, man. It definitely does. But on the same token of you're gonna go to prison, and your life is ruined. Not only that, you've ruined a life.
Man, you ruined another life.
Who knows how many?
And whoever ties.
Who knows how many lives
in
you
every other way
in that aspect? Because over a video game.
Or we want to be tough.
I mean, yeah, just because we want to be
I
tough.
don't understand how you're tough in that anyway.
Because you can pull a trigger.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't make you. I promise you, don't make you know what makes you tough. It makes you tough is to go through life and to realize that the shit has ups and downs, and no matter what, you come out of it with positive expectations, even though you may have been negative. Because listen, we preach positivity and try to be as positive, but we're gonna talk some negative shit because there's negative things in this world, and we're also gonna be negative at times, man.
We're just not blind to it,
and we're human beings. I mean, it's just because you preach positive, you want to be positive all the time, doesn't mean that you're not gonna be negative and things aren't gonna piss you off, right? But you're destroying a lot of families. Gun violence, yes. I mean, it is a bad thing in our world right now. It's a bad thing in our communities. Whether you go into the black community or the poor community, or whether you go in a rich community or the more privileged areas, it happens everywhere.
Man, if you're out there and you're thinking about ending your own life, like, nah, come on, man, let's go. You're better than that.
Listen,
you're better than that.
I've been there.
Pull yourself up. There's somebody doing better than you, and there's somebody doing worse than you.
Yeah.
But get to where you're comfortable, man.
And absolutely, the gun violence. Once again, we can talk. There's so many more. There's so much more, man. We could put on this subject, and maybe, it's something that we can bring back at another time, a different aspect of it. But I know we're gonna wrap this thing up, man, and get going. I hope you guys are still loving the episodes. Definitely give us a subscribe, give us a like, man. Share us out there.
Whatever, man. Love y'all. Y'all already know what it is.
Appreciate you. Peace out, y'all.
Take it easy.
All right, boom.